then that Brahman does not pervade anything. Then, na tasnādi kinchana, or kinchana tad na vyapnoti, nothing else, or na kasyana tad na vyapnoti, or nothing ever pervades that, So neither Brahman pervades anything, nor is it pervaded by anything. Because all this time this pervasion has been there. Kasmintat otam cha prodam cha. So all along the questions have been there. Or kasmin khulu akasha, or akasham otam cha prodam, akasha otascha prodascha. That was the question also. You cannot say that akasha or the space is pervaded by Brahman in a primary sense. That's why Bṛhadāraṇyaka chooses to interpret the root ash in the sense of vyapanam, to pervade, and says the Brahman doesn't pervade even space in a primary sense. Of course it is not pervaded by anything also. So vyapya vyapaka sambandha. So any kind of relationship, even the relation of pervading and pervading or whatever, being pervaded, all of that is up to what we call akasham or objecta or the unmanifest or the undifferentiated. But beyond that then, as far as Brahman is concerned, even that relationship of pervading or being pervaded is not applicable in primary sense. Vyapya vyapaka sambandha nachapyakshara vastuni. Therefore akshara vastu, immutable, it is not in any way pervaded or it pervades. Natasnādi vakyena yatastad varite dvayam. Yatah, since natasnādi vakyena, by the vakyena natadasnādi kinchana, natadasnādi kaschana, dvayam varyate. Both of these are negated in Brahman. तथा च आद्य वाक्येन व्यापकत्वस्य निषेधः द्वितीयेन व्याप्यत्वस्व इति विवेकः. आद्य वाक्य, the first वाक्य, Brahman is kartru, na tadashnādi kinchana. Therefore vyapakattvasya, it does not pervade anything. Dvitiyena, where Brahman is karma, vyapyattvasya, that it is not pervaded by anything. This is viveka, this is how Bṛhadāraṇyaka explains. Then says Anandagiri on page 860, Sapinditam Arthamaha. What is Sapinditam Artham? Of the whole passage here, what is the meaning, the what we call the central idea or the overall idea? Nishkrishtamidiyavad. What is Nishkarsha? What is the conclusion, you can say? And so, concluding or summarizing, what's the summarizing? So summarizing the whole passage, Bhāṣyakara says, Sarva iti. Sarva visheshana rahitam ityartha. That's all. Sarva visheshana rahitam. It is devoid of any kind of an attribute or any kind of characteristic. Tat upadayati. Sarva visheshana rahityam. That is devoid of every characteristic. What does it mean? That upavadayati. So that is shown by, in logical way, says Bhāṣyakara, ekameva dvitiyam hi tat kenakam vishishyate. Ekameva dvitiyam. It is one without a second. It is unique, you can say, It being unique, it is not like anything else that is known to us. So you can say, Advitiyam meaning is just unique. It has no parallel. It has no second. That being the case, tat kenakam vishishyate. So kenakam vishishyate. By what can be actually qualified? After all, whatever we know. So it is unique with reference to anything that we know or anything that we can know. So anything that is known or anything that is knowable with reference to that, Brahman is unique with reference to that which is known or that which is knowable. It is unique. And therefore, what Visheshana, moment we apply some Visheshana or some kind of an adjective, or we add some kind of a characteristic, that means it is comparable to something. If we say it is big and it is tall, it is wonderful, whatever we say, any kind of a Visheshana or any kind of an adjective we apply to that, it will be comparable to something, because all our adjectives are always drawn from our experiences, and our experience is confined to or can be confined only to the world that is created, and therefore whenever we try to describe God, it is always going to be with reference to something. Even when we describe Lord Krishna, however we describe him, or Lord Rama, however wonderful and unique they are, still the description is always going to be with reference to in the terms that we know. So we say the most beautiful, but then even to describe beauty, Kandarbha Aganita Amita Shabi, you say that he is like countless Kandarbha, countless Kamadeva. But this Kamadeva is a measure. So in Taittiriya Upanishad or in Bṛhadāraṇyaka Upaniṣad also, when they try to describe the Ananda that Brahman is, you keep multiplying it. But the idea is that human mind can only think in terms of something that it can measure, something that it knows, or something that it can conceptualize. In which case, whatever it is going to be limited. However great it is, moment it can be conceptualized, it is going to be limited. And therefore it can never be described in words. We will always try to describe it still. Human mind wants to still conceptualize it anyway for meditation. For the purpose of meditation, it is necessary to conceptualize God, so the mind will visualize that, which is fine. But in itself, it can never be conceptualized. Therefore, it is unique. That's the word you can use, So, ekameva advitiyam, it is one and unique, without a second, without a parallel, without anything. Where is a parallel? Advitiyam means what? Without a second means it doesn't have anything other than itself. Tat kenakam vishishyate. So, kena vishishyate. With what can we qualify that? Kim vishishyate. What is it that can be qualified when it is non-dual? And with what can we qualify when it is devoid of any kind of characteristic? So this is how the passage is. Now, for this, Vartikara has something to say. On the page 857. Asthulam ananu akhrasvam adargham ityadi atra ahu Vartikacharyaha. With reference to this, Vartikacharya have this to say, Tathahi. Now the explanation of this is in the next page, page 858, in the Krodapatra at the bottom, the second line. Akhrasvam ityadinam tatparyam sangrihnati. So Vartikara here, in this passage is quoted here, doesn't explain those words, but tatparyam. What is the tatparya? What is the purport? So what is sought to be conveyed by this passage? Akhrasvam adirgham, all the way. So where all this negation is done, what is sought to be conveyed? Meaning, how do we understand this? How do we meditate upon Brahman? How do we know Brahman? So this Vakya is Mahavakya, is for us to know Brahman. So Vartikara then dwells upon that. Parimana iti. So then we read the verse. So go. Parimana Mahabhuta Prananama Anvayadaya Karanadyaha Nishiddhyante Kramena Prapti Pekshaya. Parimana, the measure. Mahabhuta, the great elements, 5 elements. Prana, both the cosmic as well as individual air. Nama looks like to me. So Nama means a name. Anvaya. Anvaya means what? A relationship. Relationship with anything. Relationship with either sense organs, relationship with mind, relationship with the measure and so forth. Anvayadaya. Karanadya or Karanadya, whatever. You can say Karana means all sense organs, or Karana means, so Vyapaka Bhava. So when you say that Brahman is even devoid of the idea of pervading and being pervaded, then the cause-effect relationship also is negated, because the cause pervades the effect and the effect is pervaded by the cause. If you say that Brahman pervades the entire creation, it would amount to saying that Brahman is the cause of the creation. Or if something pervades Brahman, that means Brahman is the effect of something. So when it is said that Brahman does not pervade anything, nor is it pervaded by anything, then Brahman is neither the cause nor the effect. So Karanadyaha, Karanam and Karyam. So Karanadyaha Nishiddhyante Kramena, in that sequence, Nishiddhyante. So what's the need of that? How come this sequence has been selected? So go back to the Tika. Adyena Adipadena Rasavigraha Dvitiyena Tejo Mukhadiptihi. Adyena Adipadena Anvayadaya. By that, so Rasavigraha. That means all these rasa, that means that it is not dravya, not murta dravya, it is not a quality, all of that is also negated. Dvitiyena Tejo Mukhadi Uktihi and Karanadyaha. That means neither Tejas nor is Mukham, etc. All of this is negated. Kramena Prapti Apeksha. So Kramena Nisheda Hetumaha. So in a certain order, this Nisheda or negation takes place in a certain order. What's the reason for it? Prapti Apeksha. So because in that order the mind thinks, so these things appear in the mind in that order. So either you imagine Brahman to be big, or to be fine, or to be short, or to be long, and so forth and so on. So in that order, the mind may want to think, if one idea is negated, mind will think of another idea. If that is negated, that's why Bhashyakara explained it that also. So asthulam tasthula anyata evam tarhi anu na anu astu tarhi hrasvam. These questions are asked means what? These questions arise in the mind. Oh, it's not sthulam, it is not gross, all right. Then is it fine? It's not fine. Maybe it is short. No. I think that it must be long. No. So like this, as prapti, meaning as these kind of concepts arise in our mind, they are negated by the Shruti. So prapti apeksha. Then, continuing with the Tika, sarveshu visheshaneshu purvadi nayartham vikalpayati. In all this, akhrastvama dirgham, everywhere, purvadi means purvapakshi, nayartham vikalpayati. This na meaning a, which is for negating, this is a particle in sense of negation, vikalpayati, that it can have more than one meanings. This is what the Purvapakshi says, prasajyati. Second verse is, prasajya parirasabhyam nayasah kotra grhyate. He is asking, prasajya parirasabhyam. Prasajya means prasajya pratishedha. Pratishedha means negation. Negation of something for which there is an occasion. As we have been saying number of times earlier, that we should deny or negate something for which there is an occasion to negate. So in Brahman also there is an occasion to negate. That somebody may think that it is our Atma, that it is gross and it is tall and it is short, and so there is an occasion to negate this. Or it may be air, it may be element, it may be quality, it may be dravya, material, substance, it may be a sense organ, it may be possessed of the sense organs, and it may be a measure, and whatever. So all of these are negated because there is an occasion that someone may think that this is how Brahman is, that's how Atma is. So prasajya pratishedha. Pratishedha means negation, but negation always is of that for which there is an occasion. Or parivasa, exclusion. Either exclude or negation. Exclusion is different from that. On negation it is not that. So either you can say asthulam. Asthulam can mean it is not gross, or it can mean different from gross. So pratishedha means it is not gross, and parivasa means it is different from gross. This is how it is. Okay, then other than gross. So nayartha kahatra nayartha grushyate. So Purvapakshi is asking us that when you are negating all of this, what is meant by you? Is it that Brahman is not gross and not subtle, or is it meant that Brahman is different from gross and different from subtle? First would be pratishedha, second would be parivrasa. Kahartha grushyate. Please tell us, what is it, the meaning of this na? Okay, then prasajya pratishedha pakshe vakya se abhavaništatmaha. Purvapakshi says, regardless of what meaning you take, you are in trouble. Prasajya pratishedha vakya se abhavaništatvam. If you take the meaning as not this, ultimately it will amount to saying that Brahman is non-existent. But everything that is existent is denied. So if the na or a is interpreted as non-negation, then prasajya pratishede vakyasya abhavanishtatvam. Then vakya in this passage will mean that Brahman is abhava, non-existent. That's what he says. Sulapah smudar ekatra. Ekatra means when it is pratisheda, then sthula apasmritihi. It is negation of sthulatvam or negation of everything in Brahman. Then Brahman is what? Non-existent. That's what will happen. Or dvitiyetu advaitahanihi. If you say that it is other than sthulam, other than sukshma, then parivasetadanyata, other than gross, other than this, that means what? Brahman is other than everything that is known to us. Then it is different from this. So what we know is one thing, Brahman is different thing. And therefore, if you interpret this na as paridasa, then Brahman is different from all this. That means all of these stand as different from Brahman, in which case the non-duality of Brahman is negated. So either you have to say that Brahman is non-existent, or you have to say that Brahman, if you say pratisheda, then it amounts saying Brahman is non-existent. Paridasa, it amounts saying that Brahman is dual. So please tell us, which is the meaning of na that you have in mind? This is Purva Paksha. So in both, so Ubhaya Pasha Rajyahu. Either way you interpret, you are in trouble. This is what the Vedantis, all these people enjoy. Panditas, scholars enjoy this, So this kind of a challenge they enjoy. They enjoy replying that, And that fellow again enjoys challenging. And this is how it goes on. Siddhanti Prasama Paksham Samadhatte. Then Siddhanti takes the Prasama Paksha, meaning the Pratisheda Paksha, and Samadhatte. How even when it means negation, it does not amount to saying that Brahman is non-existent. Even when taking this as negation, it doesn't mean Brahman is non-existent. How? This is what the Siddhanti has to explain. Sthula Sthulapahnudiratra Vastu yat paramarthikam na bhavanishthonyatravi nishedah kimutakshare na bhavanishthonyatravi nishedah kimutakshare. Let we say that na means pratishedha. Sthulapahnudiratra. Let it be that this sthulam ananu is negation of all these qualities in Brahman. Let it be syat. This is Siddhanta. Siddhanta says. Vastu paramarthikam na bhavanishthah. So a paramarthikam vastu, that paramarthikam vastu, that which is absolute reality. So again, absolute, these are all words anyway, because we know what we call the relative reality. Therefore we say absolute reality. Is absolute different from relative or other than relative? Whenever you use this word, these questions always arise. In our minds, very necessary to understand this. Masthani sarvabhutani, nacham peshavastita, nacha masthani bhutani. And so is it different from me, not different from me? Nothing you can say ultimately. But both of them can be alright. Both of them can be utilized as the aids for contemplation upon Brahman. Both the idea of negation can also be utilized as an aid, not in a primary sense, or the idea of otherness can also be, can be utilized as an aid for contemplating on Brahman. This is what Vartikara does. Vastu yat paramarthikam vastu, that vastu which is absolutely real, meaning which does not depend upon anything else for its reality. Na abhavanishthah anyatrapi nishedah kimuta akshare. So that is paramarthika vastu. In that vastu, let there be negation of all of this. Then will it not be that Brahman, then it will amount to saying that Brahman is non-existent? He says no. Nishedah na abhavanishthah. That negation never ultimately culminates to non-existence. Anyatrapi. Even in our common day-to-day usage, when we negate, it is not this, not this. Is it Devadatta? No. Is this Sora Devadatta? No. Like Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say in case of negation, that when you have a whole heap of coins, let's say the number of rupee coins, from that you want to search out the silver rupee. a silver coin. Now the fellow does not know what silver is, let us say. Then he says, is it the one? Not this. This one? Not this. In that case, all non-silver coins are negated. But when can they be negated? When there is something called silver. So negation also requires the existence of something that is there. With reference to that, negation always takes place. Otherwise, negation cannot take place. If you say it is non-existent, then it's a different thing. When it is not a chair, not a table, it is not this and not that. That's how very often when children, when mother asks you to get something, then you don't know what it is, then you bring something. Not this, nothing. Not this, like that. They send you back again and again until you come up with what it is, But then to negate, like Bṛhadāraṇyaka used to say, when they teach the children, you teach them with these blocks and things like that, the child doesn't know anything. So how while the child plays, then along with the play you can also teach the child. So so many blocks are there. So he says, come on, bring block number 7. The poor child doesn't know what is 7. Just brings a block. This one? No. Goes back. This one? No. Goes back. And ultimately in some time it brings a block, which is 7. This one? Yes. Then it says, this is called 7. The child also learns, this is called 7. Or bring a block with a deer on that, It will keep on bringing different blocks. They are negated. But that negation also requires existence of something positive, otherwise you cannot negate it. So anyatrapi nishedha na bhavanishtaha. Even in our day-to-day life also, this nishedha or negation is not, it doesn't have its nishtha, or it doesn't have its nishtha in non-existent, it always has its nishtha, is always based on something that is existent. Kyudakshare. Then what talk of, even in the Laukika, Vyavahara also, in the Nisheda always presupposes the existence of something with reference to which something is negated. Then what talk of Akshara or immutable, that definitely Nisheda is not with reference to non-existent, that there is this existing absolute reality with reference to which the Nisheda takes place. So Tika says that Saptamyatham spudayadi vastuvidi Sthulapah nadi atra syat. Atra means here, where? Yad vastu paramarthikam. So yasmin paramarthik vastuni, that's how it should be, So yad vastu paramarthikam. So that is paramarthika vastu. In that, let there be apakhnati. So let the nisheda or negation be there. Tahi vakyasya bhavanishtatvam. Then he says, Purva Pakshi will say, Tahi vakyasya bhavanishtatvam. That should be common there. No. Vakyasya bhavanishtatvam na. The vakya does not reduce to non-existence. Na abhava. So therefore next, na bhavanishta anyatrapi nishedaha. Nisheda or negation never actually is bhavanishta. It always is nishtha. It always is based on something existing. So whenever we deny something, the denial always is with reference to something that is, because we don't accept abhava anyway. Vedanta does not accept non-existence. Non-existence it doesn't accept. Because what do you mean by non-existence of something, And so non-existence also always goes with reference to something. Non-existence of pot, non-existent cloth and whatever it is, and therefore even non-existence also requires you to qualify with something that exists. So what is what? Then of course the technical questions are there, but the point is that at no time is negation ever based on non-existence. It's always based on something that is existent. Then what to talk of? Immutable. Dvitiye samadhimaha. Even Pariyudasa also is alright. Bhartikara says that if you say otherness, then also is okay. Pariyudasa. So the verse says, Pariyudasevi kluptanam na prafaktvena samsthitihi rajju sarpadivat tasmat no bhayatrapi doshata. Pariyudasevi kluptanam. If you imagine, so whatever, all of those which are negated, Pariyudasevi kluptanam, all those that are negated, na prasaktvena samsthitihi, kluptanam prasaktvena samsthitihi na. So all this sthulam, sasthulatvam, anutvam, hrasvatvam, dirghatvam, All of these are negated. Pariudāsaya vikluptānam. So all of these, whole host of things that are negated. Now when we say that they are other than Brahman, Brahman is other than them or they are other than Brahman, does it mean that they enjoy an existence other than Brahman? No. No prasatvena samsthitihi. They are other than Brahman, all right, but still not independent of Brahman. So in what sense are they other than Brahman? Rajju sarpadivata. Just as sarpa is different from Rajju. You can say sarpa, is it Rajju? No. Or it is Rajju, it is different from Rajju. So about sarpa we can say both. Sarpa is not Rajju or sarpa is different from Rajju. In what sense sarpa is not Rajju? Because sarpa is totally negated, sarpa is totally non-existent in Rajju. In that way we can say that sarpa is not Rajju. Not that when sarpa is not Rajju, that sarpa is non-existent. We mean that in Rajju, the sarpa does not have any existence at all. In Adhishthana, the Adhyarupa does not have existence at any time in the Adhishthana. This is the general rule. Or we can say that the sarpa is other than Rajju. Inasmuch as sarpa is mithya and Rajju is satyam. In that sense, it is other and not in the sense of enjoying an independent reality. So normally people think other means enjoying the same degree of reality. But Vedantin says, we say other, not in the sense of enjoying same degree of reality, in the sense of not enjoying the same degree of reality, that's all. Enjoying a different degree of reality. That means that whatever is negated is not, it does not enjoy the same degree of reality as Brahman, but whatever is negated does not enjoy the absolute reality. Not that it is different or separate, it does not enjoy absolute reality. So whatever is negated is mithya. So we can say that mithya is non-existent or mithya is different from real. That also we can say. Mithya is different from real in as much as it is experience, or mithya is non-existent in as much as there is no existence in reality. So when we see the snake, we say that the snake is different from the rope. We don't say that a snake is not in the rope, we say that snake is different from the rope. Because snake is experienced and right now the rope is not known. And therefore snake is declared as mithya. Oh, snake is different from rope. Then what is rope? Then you show a torchlight there, then you find that the snake is not there. Then we say that the snake is not rope. So both ways, snake is different from rope and snake is not rope. Accepting the snake to be there, we say the snake is not different from rope. And then knowing the rope, we say that there is no snake in the rope at all. So ultimately Lord Krishna says, Nacha matstani bhutani. That's all pratishedha. Bhutani, the creation is not in me. That's the negation. When he says that matstani sarvabhutani, nachaham teshu avastitaha, all the beings are in me, I am not in them. Accepting the existence of beings. Accepting that the beings are there, Jagat is there, Lord Krishna says that Jagat is in me and I am not in that, meaning that Jagat is mithya. That is what we may call pariudāsa. That Jagat is there. But, so, Matsani sarvabhutani, meaning Jagat is there. Nachaham teshu, but I am not in that, meaning that Jagat does not enjoy the same degree of reality as I am. Meaning Jagat is mithya. So you can say that is pariudāsa. Other than me, or nacha matstani bhutani, look at me, here Arjuna, Jagat is not there at all. That is also necessary, to know Brahman that way. So both to know Jagat as mithya, as well as to know that Jagat has no existence, that alone is called mithya anyway. That alone is called mithya, which is a projection. And the projection does not have existence at all in what we call adhishthana or substratum. That's the reason why Vartikara takes both the meanings. To say that pariudāsaya vikluptānam na pruthatvena samsthitihi, all those that are negated, they do not have a samsthiti or existence pruthatvena, independent of Brahman. Rajju sarpadivata, just as sarpa does not have an existence separate from Rajju, so also all those that are negated, so that means the world doesn't have an existence separate from Brahman. Says therefore the Tika, Vakyasya abhavanishtatvam advaitaha nirvana iti. niyamayati, nigamayati rather. That means that Vakya doesn't have abhava nishthatvam. This Vakya does not mean that Brahman is non-existent. No advaitahani, nor does it mean that Jagat enjoys sattva separate from Brahman. Both are explained. Therefore, na iti nigamayati. Therefore, he concludes here, Bhātiyakara says, na ubhayatra api doshata. Therefore, ubhayatra, whether you take the meaning as pratisheda or you take the meaning as paryudasa, na doshata. In either case, there is no dosha at all. Both are okay. Again, Prathama Paksham Akshipati. When we say Ubhayatra api na doshata, then Purva Pakshi questions the pratisheda or negation. Drushta iti. So says, Drushtopadado logesmin utsarga vishaya sati sthulade rapadoyam nirdvaye ghatave katham. Questions. Drushta apavadaha lokesmin utsarga vishaya sati. Utsarga means general rule, apavada means exception. So whenever there is an exception, when it is not this or not this, then you are accepting, what we are doing is that we are showing the exceptions in Brahman. Then, drashta apavada lokesmin utsarga vishaya sati. Only when there is a general rule, then the question of negation or exception comes. The question of exception comes when there is a general rule. So all those who study Sanskrit Vyakaranam, they know what an exception is. As many rules there are, as many exceptions there are. Therefore people believe that alone is rule where there is an exception, That alone is called rule where there is an exception. I told you earlier also. So when we talked about the rule before this in Pune, so before the students of this management institute, when we talked about the rule, and the law and the order existing, then immediately one student asked, not immediately but in the course of the question and answer, the student, one of them asked, but Swamiji, wherever there is a rule, there must be an exception. You say that there is a rule in this whole universe, that means there must be an exception. I said, this is a rule without an exception, Or we say that we think there is an exception to the rule only because the rule is not properly understood by us. When this rule is properly understood, then we find that there is no exception. Even normally also, whenever we feel there is an exception, it is only because we have not formulated a rule properly, that's all. Our inability to formulate a rule properly, the exceptions are there. So regardless of what rules they formulate, income tax is a very classical example of formulating rules. They always find loopholes. Any law that we have in the land, anywhere in the world, including laws of Manu or any laws are there will always be exceptions. That is called law because nobody but nobody, no human mind can ever formulate a law that is all-inclusive because the only law all-inclusive is Brahman. Anything else is never going to be all-inclusive and therefore there are always going to be exceptions. Regardless of how many laws we make, it will never satisfy. People want laws always because then it's easy, The mind always asks this question, how should I do this? What should I do? If there is a law, it's easy to do things. And then they should be there. Not that they should not be there, because laws and rules make it convenient to function. But whenever there is a rule or a law, it always is binding also, understand? That every law or rule always binds, binds my freedom, But anyway, so more laws are there and more rules are there, more bondage we are accepting, and less rules are there, more freedom we have. So we have to always make a choice. It's always a problem. There are places where there are tremendous rules, You just cannot budge an inch this way or that way. 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock you go to certain ashrams. There are rules. 5 to 6 you must go to meditation, 6 to 7 you must go to Aarti, 7 to 8 you must go to Swadhyaya, then you must do this. Evening you must be there in the Aarti, Mahimna Stotra must be chanted, and everything must be done. In fact, there is an institute there in Haridwar, Rishikesh, Swargashram. They keep track of all the guests who are there and they say who did not appear in the 5 o'clock satsang or whatever, 3 days you are allowed to remain absent and then you are asked to leave the place. That's all. Simple. So, these rules keep people always disciplined, So, person knows that I must go there and therefore discipline is, one becomes disciplined by the rules. But then, Discipline is what? Loss of freedom, And so, that also one doesn't like. Discipline is an imposition. Every rule is an imposition. Because by nature, everything is free. Not only human being, everything is free. But let us say human being is free. Other people are not free in as much as all of them are controlled by the nature. Human being also is usually controlled by nature. But everybody's nature being different, therefore they are free. That's all it is. Not that people are free really. In as much as everybody has their own nature, therefore they think that they are free. People feel they are free because they possess a nature different from others, that's all. This poor wood is not free because all wood generally follow the same nature. Therefore wood has its predictability is there. But as far as human beings are concerned, there is no predictability. Everybody has their own nature and they think that that is the perfect nature, whatever it is. And so, that is how every rule always amounts to what? Amounts to imposition. So whether imposition should be there, this is a debate. Debate always in the world, not only with reference to ashrams or institutes, with reference to life. For example, the economic system, what kind of a system it should be? Everything should be regulated? Then the number of regulating agencies like in India it used to be, Or is it totally free? There are no regulating agencies at all. There is no place in the world which is free from regulating agencies. Even United States and all these places where freedom is always valued because they feel that giving freedom is the way to grow. This is their principle. Therefore, let the free forces decide the course of things and not let somebody decide. Because when somebody decides how things should be, then it is always going to be that somebody's perception and it is going to always restrict the other fellows who may have different ways of doing things. Never let there be collective decision, consensus or collective decision. And so that's called market forces. What is market forces? Are nothing but the collective will of the people. They decide whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not, whether we want to use it or not. And that's how the supply and demand, so that mechanism should decide how these situations should be and not a given person. That our country must have this, go. No. Let the market forces decide. That's called free economy, That's what India is trying, free economy. People are wiped out with this free economy, by the way, the Russia and fellows like that, because free economy requires a lot of other supporting things. When you don't have that, then it is like putting a child in the open, all right, go and be independent, Like telling a child to go in the world and find it on its own, it will be wiped out. But when it becomes 25-year-old fellow, then also keep on keeping in the home and then keep on direct, then also is a problem, you see. So where is the line of demarcation, When do we say the time has come to give freedom? Or when do we say the time has come to guide, Guiding means restraining, controlling, So when should we control and when should we give freedom, So what is Vedanta? What is Vedanta? How do we teach Vedanta? How do people learn Vedanta? Should they or can they learn Vedanta in the atmosphere of rules, and regulations and discipline? Or can they learn Vedanta in the atmosphere of freedom? If Vedanta is the intention, so to the extent that Vedanta is the purpose, to that extent freedom has to be the way to learn because Vedanta teaches freedom. Swami says, you cannot teach freedom in the atmosphere of bondage. You create all kinds of bondage and restrictions and rules and regulations, and then you want to say that you are free, that cannot work. Therefore Swamiji doesn't like or wishes to have minimum number of rules, which means let the market forces decide, meaning let the individual will decide. Let individual have the freedom to decide what is right for them. Let us not decide for them what is right for them. Let them decide what is right for them. The moment this freedom is given, there is a requirement of a tremendous maturity. This is like telling the child, you decide what you want to do. That's how in the Western countries, you decide. Mom, what should I wear? You decide. Mom, what should I watch today on this TV? You decide. If mom says, okay beta, wear this shirt. No mom, I want to wear that. He decides. Even that little thing starts growing, it decides what it wants. What kind of cereal I want? Therefore millions of cereals. So how many choices must be given then? You go to a typical supermarket there, hundreds of cereals. Same stuff in different shapes and different whatever it is. So, but then choice. Every child will have its own choice cereal. Choice this, choice that. So you encourage a person's freedom, individuality, ability to choose. That is how the growth takes place. Otherwise, if you keep on making choices for them, the growth does not take place. But when we allow them to make choices, that means that still they are not mature enough, or they do not have enough experience, therefore they wind up making wrong choices and hurt themselves. Therefore, in order to prevent them from hurting themselves, we wish to make choices. That is why we say, no, do this, not that, do that, not this. Not to really restrict them, so that to guide them, But what happens is, rules are always general rules. And not everybody can ever fit in any rule. There is no one rule that can apply to everybody. That being the case, a rule will help several number of people, but will always hurt those who do not fall in line. So everybody doesn't fall in line. Those who fall in line, for them rule is fine. Those who don't fall in line, rule is not fine. So this debate always remains, whether we should have rules, or if we open our economy to the world forces, they'll crush it, because India is still a child, and there is no discipline of any kind here. There is no work ethics, there is no sense of quality, there is no sense of anything in this country, generally speaking. That being the case, when it is attacked by people who are tremendously disciplined and organized, it will be crushed. They'll be wiped out. Right now there is no soft drink in this country other than Coke and Pepsi. Don't say any other name. These fellows come like bulldozers and wipe out everything. Right now America is in trouble. America means they also realize that when their economy is open, so Japanese and Germans came and wiped out. You don't see American cars on the roads. And any little thing that you see in the store, made in Taiwan, made in Korea, made in China, made in this and made in that, you don't find American things at all. So then they said, therefore those products that are made in America, they make it a point to write that, or they always make it a point that we love America, or made in America. It's like Swadeshi, Similarly, they are all Swadeshi, we think that is all orthodox, Understand that it is not orthodox, it is a human need, to have identification. So therefore Americans also feel that we are being bulldozed by others, because American labor is so expensive. So wherever the labor is cheap, that is where things go. Even Americans also are not loyal to America. They are loyal to themselves and loyal to their own prosperity. Therefore, even American firms go to Mexico and other places and get things done and import America and sell that. So when you do that, then you know America left at all. And so Reagan said that America should only be service industry. There will be no manufacturing at all, because you can't afford. Either you shape up or ship out. But anyway, so this is how things work. And then you feel the pinch. Anyway, the idea is that this question is always remain. Should we keep on making rules, or should we give freedom to individual? When individual freedom is given, it calls for a maturity and a sense of responsibility. That is why Mahatma Gandhi worked for 30 years, creating a sense of responsibility in people before freedom comes. Because freedom can only be enjoyed, or the benefit of freedom will be there only when there is a responsibility. And he worked for that. He said India is slave or is bound not because the others like British have the capability of enslaving India. It is because India is enslaved from within. Therefore alone the forces without can enslave that. He worked the whole of his life to liberate them from within. Of course they could not be liberated in spite of all his efforts. And so we can see what happens when the freedom comes, how the country is wiped out, because it doesn't know how to really own up that freedom. But anyway, that's what the British said. Churchill always felt, that India cannot. He also knew Not that India is wiped out of what it is, or there is no maturity. The idea is that tremendous struggle is going on, the freedom is not necessarily been a blessing. People keep on saying that British Raj was better and stuff like that, Regardless of that, it's not totally that, but what I'm saying is here, how the individual freedom versus the rule, So this kind of thing always remains, this balance between the two. What should be there, what should not be there. A rule, this whole thing came from rule and exception. So the question was, Drashtovāvalokasmin utsarga vishaya sadhi. Exception is there when there is a general rule. Generally we understand that when there is a rule, there is always an exception, And so, here, sthula dehe apvadayam nirdvaya ghatave katham. When you say that Brahman is not then all specific characteristics can be negated. So when we say that this sthulatvam or grossness, subtleness, etc., specific things are negated in Brahman, that amounts to saying that Brahman possesses a general characteristic. None of the specific can be negated. So when we are negating all the specific things like the grossness, subtleness, etc., that will be there only when utsarga or some kind of generalness is there in Brahman. Sthulade apvadam nirdvaya ghatave katham. But in nirdvayam Brahma, how is apvada or exception or negation of specific things? How can it be? Only when it possesses some general characteristic that the negation of specific can be there. How can it be? This is the question. That means our idea of negation also is again further question, and that's how Vartika continues, his discussion here. For him also, how do you have prasangika pravachana? For him, so in prasangika, another prasangika also comes. Anyway. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Bṛhadāraṇyam Sutrabhāṣya Krutau Vande Tau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. 857. Sahovacha etadvaitadaksharam gargi brahmana abhivadante asthudamananvahasva dirgham alohitamasneham acchayamatamah avayavanakasham asangam arasamagandham achakshushkamashrotram vāk amanah atejaskam apranam amkham amatram anantaram bāhyam natadashnādi kinchana natadashnādi kaschana. Okay, so we are discussing the Vartika. Parimāna Mahamūta Prāṇānāma Anvāyādaya Kāranādhyā Nishidhyante Kramena Prāpti Apekshaya. Kramena, as the occasion arises, the Shruti negates one after the other. Parimāna in Brahman, any kind of a measure. Mahabhuta, that Brahman is not the five elements. Prana is not prana. Nama Anvāyādaya, that it is not connected with anything. Kāranādhyaha, it is neither karanam, nor karyam, nor karanam. Nishidhyante kramena, prapti apekshaya. So as the occasions arise, kramena in sequence, these are negated one by one in Brahman. Prasajya paridasabhyam nayarthah kotra gruhyate. Question is, alright, sthulam ananu akhrasvam adirgham. Everywhere there is there is a nay or the negative particle is there. And this negative particle can have one of the two meanings, prasajya pratishedha and parivadasa, negation for that for which there is an occasion, or parivadasa, an exclusion. Ko arthaha atra gruhyate. Which of the two, whether by that is by nay, do you mean that Brahman is not this, or parivadasa, Brahman is other than this? It is not sthulam, not anu, not hasvam, not dirgham, or other than sthulam, or anu, other than hasvam, other than dirgham. What is it that is meant here? Either way, there is a difficulty. Stulapah nurpi tirekatra parivadasa tadanyata. If it is stulapah nurtehi, if it is sthulam, anu, all of these are sthulatvam, anutvam, all of this is negated in Brahman, then all this negation ultimately will amount to negation of everything. That means Brahman is reduced to nothing. And therefore, all these negations only amount to saying that Brahman is non-existent, or word Brahman is used for that which is non-existent. Parivadasa tadanyata. If you say that Brahman is different from sthulam and sukshma, etc., that is sthula, sukshma, that is all jagat. So all of this means jagat. Sthulam, sukshmam, anu, hrusva, all of these, ultimate hrusva means jagat. So that means jagat is different from Brahman. In that case, there will be a denial, or there will be a sacrifice of the non-duality. Which means that either way you interpret this there is a problem. Stulapah nidiratrastasyad vastu yat paramarthakam. Yat paramarthakam vastu tatra stula apakhnatihi syad. Let us say that the meaning of the na is this pratisheda. That means that all the sthula, sukshma, all of these are negated in the paramarthik vastu. And understand that that negation does not amount to reducing to non-existence. Why? Na abhava nishedha anyatrapi. In our common vyavahar also, whenever these things are negated, we do not mean that the negation leads to or ultimately reduces to non-existent, because negation always is carried out with reference, with the frame of reference. So given thing is not there, always with a frame of reference, that a given object is not there, a given thing is not there, given situation is not there, given person is not there. Whenever we say that the tale ghato nasti. So on the floor the pot is not there, there also the floor is there, with reference to which it is said that the pot is not there. So even that given thing is not there also is always said with reference to something that is there. So negation always is carried out with reference to something which is there. And therefore, this sthulatvam, anutvam, all of these are negated with reference to something that is there. That means that it should reduce to an existent entity, not a non-existent entity. This is the case in our day-to-day transaction also. Kimud akshare, then when we talk of akshara or immutable, that it is not non-existent. Parivadase vikluptanam na prathaktvena samsthitihi. And even if you interpret this as parivadasa or as exclusion, you keep on elimination, keep eliminating things or excluding that this is Brahman is different from this, or let us say that it means difference, other than. So otherness, parivadasa means otherness. So Brahman is other than sthulam, other than sukshman. Then parivadase vikluptanam na prathaktvena samsthitihi. Then all of those we are declared as other than Brahman. So sthulatvam, sukshmatvam, anutvam, dirghatvam, hrasvatvam, all of these are declared as different from Brahman. So parivadase vikluptanam na prathaktvena samsthitihi. Even they also do not exist separately from Brahman. The question of sacrificing non-duality comes if all those that are actually said to be different, if they exist separate or independent of Brahman, then that is a sacrifice of non-duality of Brahman. But here, even though we say that they are all different from Brahman, we do not mean that they enjoy an existence separate from Brahman, a reality. How? Rajju sarpadivat. Just a sarpa. So Rajju is different from Sarpa, and different from Mala, and different from Danda, different from Bhuchidra. When it is said, then this Sarpa, Mala, Danda, Bhuchidra, all of them do not enjoy an existence separate from Rajju. Tasmat no Ubhayatra api doshara. Therefore, Ubhayatra, whether the na is interpreted as Pratisheda or Pariyudasa, there is no dosha at all. Then again the question. But all right, you are negating things. You are negating apavada. See, adhyaropa and apavada. Drushta apavada lokesmin utsarga vishayasati. What is being done here is apavada. In all this negation process, there is what we call apavada. Meaning negation is a technical word. Adhyaropa and apavada. Apavada or negation takes place where there is adhyaropa or superimposition. So this neti is a process of apavada, negating. This is what the Upanishads do, that by the process of dhyana apavada, they seek to teach that which is of course which cannot really be communicated, but it is thought to be communicated through the process of adhyana apavada. So adhyana is first done, the whole creation is superimposed upon Brahman, and so the Upanishad will describe how the whole creation came into being from Brahman. Tadaikshada, etc. And so, and then Tatsushva, Tadevanupravishada, all this Adhyaropa is done. That Brahman created this world, and then it entered the world, and now it obtains all these jivas and so forth. So, Jivatvam is superimposed upon Brahman first to explain our experiences, and then Apavada, the negation is done. That no, it is not this, it is not this, it is not that. So, it's Apavada. Drushtaha, what is done here is apavada. Sthulatvam, no. Sukshmatvam, no. This way. Then question is Drushtaha, apavadaha, lokesmin, utsarga vishayasati. Let us say that when some adhyaropa is done, then the question of apavada comes. That also can be the interpretation of this. So when some adhyaropa is done, then the question of apavada comes. Adhyaropa means when a rule is formed, then the question of exception comes. So when a certain formulation is there, rule is there, then the question of exception comes. When something is superimposed, then the question of negation comes. Sthuladehe apavadayam nirdvaye ghatate katham. Where is the question of sthulatvam, anutvam, etc.? So all of these have no occasion in case of Brahman. Nirdvaye. In Brahman there is non-duality. Where is the question of grossness, or fineness, or longness, or shortness? Who says that Brahman is long and short, that you are saying that Brahman is not long and short? So, sthuladehe apavadayam nirdvaye ghatate katham. Nirdvayam Brahman, there is non-dual. There, where is the question of apavada or negation? See, go to page 858, next page. We are in the 7th line, Prasana Paksham Akshapati Drishtedi. So what is Utsarga and Apavada? As an example is given. Nahim syadadi Utsarga Vishayasadi Agni Shoviyam Pashum Alabheda Iti Apavada Drishtaha. Nahim syad Sarva Bhutani. One should not hurt any creature at all. This is the statement. This is what Veda says. One should not hurt any creature. And then Veda itself says, Agni Shoviyam Pashum Alabheta. That for this Agni Shoma, for this particular yaga, one should actually bring the Pashu for sacrifice. That is, Veda itself is also again asking us to hurt or kill an animal. When on one hand they say do not hurt any animal, any creature, then they themselves are asking to kill an animal. Iti apavada dushta. That means this is an exception. So apavada. Or it is negation of something that has been done. So you say something and then you negate it. This is apavada. So you make a statement, you make a general statement, and then you say, no, not this and not that. So this is called apavada. So there also a general statement has been made that no creature should be hurt, and then an exception is done, or that very rule is sacrificed or negated by saying that when it comes to performance of a given yaga, you might sacrifice an animal, which is all right. So, na tad vishaya bheda. The thing is that this is accepted. All the himsa that is what we call Vaidika, So sanctioned by the Vedas is not called himsa. This is the general conclusion, that even though in the Vedas we find this kind of things, after long discussions the conclusion is that whenever it is enjoined by the Vedas, we should not look upon that act as violence. Anyway, so this is how it is. Therefore, even if when you have to sacrifice an animal, we should not look upon that process as violence. This is how the conclusion is. Anyway, nobody does this kind of thing, so the question doesn't remain. Although there are people who do, but they're not Vedic rituals. All these tantric rituals people still sacrifice in India and elsewhere also. People of Indian origin, who have gone to other countries, and they still may retain their customs which are 150 years old, and so whatever, all the village culture is still there in many places. Otherwise people are, as far as the lifestyle is concerned, they are very modern. But when it comes to this kind of thing, they still are very orthodox, or whatever you call them. And so the customs, 100 years old customs are still retained in places like Mauritius and Reunion and all these islands where people had gone many years ago. And there are still cases of sacrificing. Even in India also they are there, But it is all sacrificing by Tantra, Devi generally speaking, so that is where sacrifice takes place. But apparently, those people may be the very people who are vegetarians and may not be eating onion and garlic also, I presume, I do not know, and then still they do not look upon this act as an act of violence because it is a religious act. It has a religious sanction. So the understanding here is that since religious sanction is there, therefore it is not an act of violence. Therefore, this is an exception to the general rule. This is just simply an example of what is called utsarga and what is apavada. What is general rule and what is an exception. Nacha tad vishaya bhedaha advaya asti ataha. So the Purvapakshi says that this is all right. As far as utsarga is concerned, so apavada is all right when utsarga is there. So this utsarga is there, so apavada is all right. Nacha tad vishaya bhedaha advaya asti. Vishaya bheda is there. So there is a general statement and then a particular case is there when the exception is there. So general and particular, when this kind of divisions are there. So whenever in anything there is this characteristic of general and particular, then what applies to general may not apply to a particular case, then the question of exception is there. Nacha tad vishaya bhedaha advaya asti. But in Advaya or non-duality, you cannot say that there is a generality and particularity. These kind of distinctions cannot be there. Ataha sthuladehe na apavadaha ityarthaha. And therefore, how can there be apavada? So how come this apavada or negation of this sthulatvam, sukshmatvam, etc. is there? Where in Brahman, so there are these kind of distinctions like general and particular. Samanya and Vishesha, this kind of distinctions are not there, and so still this is Samanyataya Ajñātam, that Brahman is known in general way, but Visheshataya Ajñātam, not known in a particular way. How can this kind of distinctions be there in Brahman that is beyond the ideas of general and particular? Ataha sthuladehe na apavadaha, and therefore this apavada. So that means that this is not a pratisheda. Purvapakshi is saying that, you are saying that when this na is interpreted as pratisheda, then that it does not reduce to non-existence, alright. But we say that if you interpret that as pratisheda, that means it is negation, that means it is apavada. Apavada presupposes utsarga. Say a negation in a particular case presupposes something general. That means that this kind of ideas of general and particular should be there, when then alone this kind of apavada or negation can take place. So even if it does not lead to non-existence, which was the earlier contention, all that we replied, or we cleared that up, then the question of non-existence does not arise, is all right. Question of non-existence may not arise. But still the question of this utsarga apavada, general particular, that this also and that also. You see, both are accepted. That ahimsa also is alright and ahimsa also is alright, you see. Not hurting also is alright and hurting also alright. This is what happens ultimately. The na himsyat sarvabhutani, do not hurt any creature. That also is okay. And then pashum alabheda, and that you can kill an animal, that also is okay. So both are okay. How can this kind of thing be there in Brahman, where this is also alright and that is also alright? That means Sthulatam also is alright and Asthulatam. So that way, Asthulam when you say, Apavada is there, that means that somewhere Sthulatam must be alright, then alone somewhere the Sthulatam is negated. See, question of negation comes when the general rule is there. Otherwise you don't have to. You don't have to say that, there is no general rule that everybody should breathe. No rule is necessary. Therefore, in a given situation that one should not breathe or whatever, does not arise because the particular exception is there only when general rule is there. Or if general rule is there that one should not light a fire in the air or something like that, then you can say that all in a given place you can light up. But there is no general rule and therefore there are no exceptions. Exceptions are there where general rule is there, or exception is there when one thing is alright in a given case, it is not alright in a different case. That means the Sthulatam is alright in alright and not alright in a particular case. So if this kind of particular and general situations are there, then Apavada is okay. But here in case of Brahman, which is beyond the ideas, where is the question of Apavada? So when the reply is given, Vastunaha Advayatvevi Tatra Utsarga Apavada Vyavastha Yukta. Vastunaha Advayapi, even though alright, even the Vastu is non-dual, and still Utsarga Apavada Vyavastha Yukta. And still, this Utsarga means the general and particular, this kind of situations do arise. What it means that for some people Brahman is Sthulam, and for some people Brahman is not Sthulam. This is what it also amounts to. When you say Asthulam Ananu, that means that for someone it is Asthulam Ananu, and for someone else it is Sthulam Ananu. Then along the question of, so Brahman is Sthulam also, Anu also. Then on the question of saying that Brahman is not Sthulam and not Anu. So only when Brahman is Sthulam and Anu and Hasvam and Dirgham, then the question of saying that Asthulam Ananu arises. How can Brahman be both Sthulam as well as Anu, or Asthulam, Anu as well as Ananu, Hrasvam as well as Ahrasvam? So when a given thing can have both, then the question of Apavada comes. This is how Utsarga and Apavada. So when a grammar rule is there, for example, when there is an exception, that means the rule is there, applicable as well as not applicable. Similarly, Sthulatvam is there as well as not there. So in Brahman, if Sthulatvam is there, then the question of saying Asthulam is there. But where is the question of Sthulatvam in Brahman? That you are saying Asthulam Ananu. So Utsarga, that Brahman is Sthulam, Apavada Asthulam. But where is Sthulatvam Anutvam in Brahma, which is non-dual? Then where is this question that you are saying that Asthulam Ananu? So why is there a need to negate? The question is, the need of negation comes when a general nature of Sthulatvam Anutvam is there, and then alone the question of negation of Sthulatvam Anutvam comes. But in Brahman, where is Sthulatvam and where is Anutvam? That you are negating them. So are there situations where there is Sthulatvam? Is there a situation where Sthulatvam Anutvam is there in Brahman? Then there is a need to negate. Prasajya Pratishedha. Where is the occasion to negate this also? The occasion comes when a general rule is there, then there is an occasion to negate it, then particular rule comes. So since the general rule is there, that one should not hurt any creature, then the particular case of hurting it in a given case arises. Similarly also, if there is an occasion of Sthulatvam and Anutvam in Brahman, then the question of negating Sthulatvam and Anutvam arises. But in Brahman, how can there be Sthulatvam and Anutvam? Then the question of negation arises. So prasajya pratisheda, prasajya means the prasanga is there, occasion is there. So occasion of negation comes generally when utsarga or a general situation obtains. If generally speaking Brahman is sthulam, then the question of sthulatvam is there. If generally Brahman is anu, then the question of ananutvam comes. where is this Sthulatvam, Anutvam in Brahman that you are negating that? So question is, in case of Pratisheda or negation, a Prasanga must be there. It is called Prasajya Pratisheda, a negation when the occasion for negation is there. If the occasion is not there, we should not have negation. And therefore, so Swamiji, you should not eat meat, but I never eat it. So if I do it, then I say, alright, when you come to our place, Swamiji, you cannot have tea. Suppose somebody tells me, when you come to our place, you cannot get tea. But I never drink tea to begin with, let us say. So if I drink tea in different places, then you can say that here you cannot. Or when you enter here, you must wear a dhoti. Fine. When should it be said? When I do not wear dhoti in different place and things like that, So when you come to this hall, whatever it is, dhoti, you must wear that. That is where elsewhere the fellow is not wearing. But then if the person is wearing everywhere, the question of exception doesn't come. So is Brahman Sthulam and Anu and Hasvam and Dirgham at all? That you have to say that it is Ananu, Asthulam, Ahrasvam, Adirgham. This is the question. Says yes. Vastunaha Advaitvepi. Advitya means what? Invariable also. If Brahman varies, then in some case it is Sthulam and Anu. Then in another case it is Vasthulam and Anu. If these two kind of things are there in Brahman, then the question of negation is there. He says yes, this also is there. That Brahman is Sthulam, Anu, Hrasvam, Dirgham. Also, therefore, the occasion for negation of that comes. Vastunaha Advaitvepi Tatra Utsarga Apavada Vyavastha Yukta. There also, even though it is non-dual there, still the Utsarga and Apavada, this Vyavastha is quite alright. Iti Parihati Utsargasya. So going back to the previous page, we are in the fifth line on the page 857 there. Utsargasyasti Vishaya Yo Nirjnanatatmatatvakaha Apavadasya Vishaya Jnatatmaika Satatvakaha. Utsargasya Asti Vishaya. He says, yes, there is a Vishaya. Utsarga, so two Vishayas are there. That was the idea here. Yeah. Utsarga is one Vishaya and Apavada is another Vishaya. So Vishaya Bheda. That's why I said, not that Vishaya Bheda Hasti. Utsarga addresses to one situation, Apavada addresses to another situation. So Utsarga is one Vishaya and Apavada has another Vishaya. So Nahimsayat Sarabhutani general Vishaya. And Agni Shomi is a particular situation, another Vishaya. So Apavada has a Vishaya called Agni Shomi Yaga. Utsarga is a Vishaya which is a general creature situation. Similarly also Brahman is two Vishaya. How? Utsargasya asti Vishaya yaha anirjnanatatmatatvakaha. Anirjnanatatma. When Atma is unknown, then there is an Utsarga. This is what the Tika explains. Pratiji ajñāde prāptam sthulādi tasminneva ajñāte nishidhyate. Pratiji ajñāde prāptam sthulādi. So when Pratyagatma is not known, when there is ignorance of Pratyagatma, then Sthuladi is there. Then there is this notion that I am Sthulaha, I am Anu, I am Hasvaha, I am Dirghaha. All of these general rule is there, meaning the general situation is there with reference to ignorance. That means that Utsarga has its Vishaya with reference to Ajñāta Atma and Apavada has its Vishaya with reference to Jñāta Atma. When Atma is Tasmin Neva Jñāte Nishidhyate, when that very Atma is known, then Sthulatvam, Anutvam, all of this is negated. So that was said that Utsargasyasti Vishaya Yaha Anirjnāta Atma Tattvakaha. Anirjnāta Atma Tattvam. So Atma Tattva is Anirjnātam. When Atma Tattva is not known, then there is the occasion for Utsarga. That generally Brahman or Atma is taken as Thulam, Anu. Meaning when I say I am happy and happy, gross and so, short and tall and all of these notions are there. So all those notions are there when Atma is not known. So that's a general thing, Utsarga. Then Apavadasya Vishaya Jñātātmaika Satatvakaha. And that very same Atma is known. At that time, Asthulam, Ananu, Akhrasvam, Adirgham. Because because of ignorance, there is this general superimposition or a universal superimposition that takes place upon Atma, and when that Atma is known, then particular negation takes place. So negation is applicable only in case of the one who knows. Whereas the superimposition is there with reference to everyone because everyone is ignorant. And so generally speaking, Atma is taken as Sthulaha or Anu or Hasvaha or Dirghaha or Sukhi or Dukhi or whatever. And therefore, there is this negation in particular case when Atma is known. Says here, Dushyate cha Rajvam Ajñātāyām Prāptasya Sarpādehe Tasyām Jñātāyām Nishedha. This is also we find. Rajvam Ajñātāyām Prāptasya Sarpādehe. When Rajju, for example, is not known, then Sarpa is Prāptaha. Then one sees the snake there. So now there is an occasion that snake is there. Jñātāyām Nishedha Tasyām. And when that Rajju is known, then the Sarpa is negated. So this is a negation of something that has been superimposed. And so this non-violence is superimposed. So there is a negation. That non-violence is negated in a given case. So general thing is superimposition and particular case is negation. So generally a sthulatvam etc. is superimposed, just as Sarpa is superimposed upon the Rajju when Rajju is unknown or Rajju is not known, and then the apavada that this is not Sarpa takes place. Tat prasajya pratishedha sadhyan. Therefore, this pratishedha. So first of all, it was explained that pratishedha does not lead to non-existence. Now it is said that pratishedha has a reason. Alright, suppose it doesn't lead to non-existence, so why should be there? Because there is an occasion here. What's the occasion? That people have this general notion that Atma is Sthulaha, Anu. Since the general notions are there, therefore there is an occasion of negation. That means, therefore, tasmat prasajya pratishedha sadhyan. What is sadhyan? Sadhu. Sadhu means it is alright. Sadhyan, so sadhyan, sadhyas. So it is in fact better, Prasajya pratishedha, es pratyay is there, so it is better. So it is better. Ekatrevatmani prapti pratishedho sthuladehi. Ekatrevatmani, in very one Atma, in very same Atma. Prapti pratishedho. So prapti and pratishedha. Prasanga prapti, the occasion, and pratishedha, the negation. Sthuladehe prapti, sthuladehe pratishedha. In very same Atma, there is the occasion of sthulatvam, fatness or grossness, and pratishedha, negation. Iti etad drishtantena spashtayati adhyastayati. So next verse is. By drishtanta. How? Now of course, the Vishayas, you say Vishayas are different. Atma alone is the Vishaya. Atma alone is the Vishaya for both Adhyaropa and Apavada. For which Atma? Unknown Atma that is unknown becomes the Vishaya for Adhyaropa, and Atma that is known becomes the Vishaya for Apavada. Even the one Atma, but still there are two Atmas as though. Ajñāta Atma and Jñāta Atma. Even though Atma is one, it appears as though there are two distinct different entities, Ajñāta Atma and Jñāta Atma, known, unknown self and known self. So similarly, example is given how? In one entity alone, when it is not known because of ignorance, how something is superimposed and how that superimposition goes when it becomes known. Adhyasta ding nishedascha vyom ekasmin yatha tatha. Ding nishedascha. The ding mudha. Ding mudha means what? The fellow is totally confused or totally is deluded. Not confused, deluded. Deluded with reference to direction. Confused, then the fellow knows that I am confused, and at least he will check, with somebody. Wait a minute, where is east now? Which is west? No, particularly while driving this happens, And so you have to go to on south, let us say. And then when you enter the road, you don't know what is south, which way. Then of course, if the sun is there and so forth, then this is east, and then also you have to calculate in your mind that which way is the north and then the right. All kinds of problems happen, that when you face the northern direction, then the east is on the right. When you are facing the west direction, that is what, So again you have to go through all the rigmarole for 10 minutes in your own mind, and then you arrive at this ultimate conclusion, okay, this is south, you see. Sometimes what is right and wrong also is a problem, So when you face north, then the east is on the right, but then the question is, which is right here, Particularly when somebody is driving and when you are giving them direction, make a right, then the other just make a right, He just makes a left turn. He thinks that is right, you see. Therefore, instead of saying right and wrong, right and left, now he said, in your direction, that's what he said. Turn in your direction. Turn in the other direction, or turn in my direction. So, if I am sitting beside him, then I will say, turn in my direction, or turn in your direction. Then it is very clear. Then what is right and left? People get totally confused. While they are driving, their concentration will be wherever it is, and therefore, they can't think of many things. So don't talk to me while I am driving. Some people tell me, so please don't disturb me while I am driving, because my concentration must be there in driving, And so it is true. Similarly also, there is concentration. Driving requires concentration, preoccupation in many other things also, because not only you concentrate on your negotiating your vehicle, but why this fellow came here and what happened here, what is this cow? So these things are also going on inside, or whatever else may be going on, who knows, but anyway, things go on while driving. So driving is not the only thing, but other things also go on. And that being the case, all of them is a right, then he doesn't know what to do, So all of a sudden then he says, take right. Then he is to completely get oriented towards this reality. Because people are generally not where they are. Most of the accidents happen only because people are not where they are. Where they are physically, most of the accidents happen. Of course, there is a tremendous indiscipline and millions of reasons are there, but still accidents don't happen because of that. In fact, there are millions of reasons for accidents to happen in India and in Ahmedabad and everywhere else. If this situation existed anywhere in Europe or in Western countries, there will be millions of accidents, not one. But that they don't happen because people have developed tremendous skills, I mean, there are no more those. As far as skills are concerned, I think there are nobody better than Indians, at least as far as the driving skill is concerned. Tremendous skill. And how to act in emergency, they just know, Of course, they create emergency to begin with. That's a different matter. They will create it. In every situation, we create emergency. Not only on the road, that is just an example, that is a very clear illustration, but everywhere they do this. And then they really show the skill. These fellows did not bring tools with them. And then emergency is created. Then you have to see their creativity, or ingenuity, as to how a given thing is made into a tool, and then they do that, including their teeth and whatever it is. They will just they will do with anything and get things done. That's all. So similarly also they will land into a big mess to begin with by themselves, and then negotiate. And of course in the process they will disturb a lot of other people also, then put them into mess, and then they will also do. This is how, anyway, this whole mess parampa is going on, whatever it is. But the thing is, so anyway, this Dingmura, the thing is, this is an experience that Dingmura. You just get totally confused with reference to direction, because sometimes the roads are going round and round. If it is going straight, then also is okay. But roads are winding roads very often. They take turns and you do not know whether you are going in south direction or east direction, and then you are totally confused. And all of a sudden then you see the suns. Oh, okay, sunrise or something like that. Then the east is determined. And then now you know where, in which direction to go. At least if you have to go to east, you are clear, if nothing else, If you have to determine where is north, then that may take again some time. But east you have to go, you see the sunrise, and you proceed. So anyway, adhyastading nishedascha. First of all, you thought that you are going in the east. That means that eastness is superimposed upon the direction, and then you see the sun rising in a different direction. Then you realize that when you are not going to east, then you make it. So if you are not driving, you are just walking. That's easier, So people are walking in forest, etc. Then also there is tremendous confusion. And so he thinks that he is going in the right direction. He is going in east. Then all of a sudden he discovers that, hey, east is there. So upon this quarter direction, there was a superimposition of eastness. Then adhyastadik nishedascha. Vyomni ekasmin yatha tatha. Just as in one vyom or one space or one direction or one quarter, there is this dik, the direction has been superimposed and then negated. Utsarga apavada vidhi nishedha ekalatmani. Utsarga apavada vidhi nishedha ekalatmani. Similarly also in one Atma alone, Utsarga also is there, Apavada is also there. See, Upanishad will say, or the Vedas will say, that, you must do this and you must. So all this kartavya, for example, duties are all actually enjoined upon people. That very same Veda will say, that now give up your duty. Yadahareva virajet, tadahareva prabrajet. The day you discover vairagya, that day you can walk out. Meaning you can give up all the duties, you can take sannyasa. Brahmanaha bhikshacharyam charanti. So these brahmanas, having grown out of the yeshanas, bhikshacharyam charanti. And so in one Atma alone, with one Brahmana alone, this very same fellow was told that you must do your daily and nitya naimitya karma diligently. That very person is told that now you give up. Ekala Atmani, in one Atma alone, this vidhi is there and nisheda also is there. Utsarga also is there, sthulatvam, etc. Apavada also is there. And so in one case, there is a question of maturity. When the person has not yet attained a certain maturity, you ask the person to do a given thing. When they attain maturity, you ask them to give it up. The doctors also ask us that don't walk without crutches, don't walk without stick. Or that, crutches. When the fellow suffers from, fractured leg or something like that. Then after 4 weeks, that very same doctor says, come on now, give it up. So, vidhi also is there, nisheda is also there. In one person alone, depending upon the situation or condition of the person. When the condition changes, how the rule also appears to change. So, very thing that was told is now negated, apavada. The very thing that was told by the same person, that the same doctor negates now what he had told earlier. So vidhi and nisheda. So also utsarga and apavada ekala atmani, in the very atma, ignorance and knowledge, or antahkarana shuddhi or ashuddhi. This way, this vidhi nisheda or utsarga apavada are there in one atma alone. Okay, then. So ekatreva atmani prapti pratishedho sthuladehe. In one atma alone is there, that is shown by illustration. Then continuing Tika says, prasajya pratished anurodhena asthulade vakyasya arthamuktva parivāsamanusritya arthantaramaha. Okay. So, now this is prasakta pratisheda. That is how asthulam ananu, this vakya is then explained. Anurodhena asthulade vakyasya arthamuktva, having given the meaning of that, this passage, parivāsamanusritya, alright, now parivāsa, meaning what? Otherness. So parivāsa anusritya arthantaramaha. Another meaning is given now, the same passage, accepting this parivāsa, accepting that the meaning of the na is parivāsa. Yadi vayati. Yadi va aksharayathatam. This is very brilliant thinking, very beautiful. How Vardikaras, how it dwells. It dwells and enables us to dwell upon this passage. After all, this passage is there, the Shabda is there. Now Shabda can create the Bodha only when Vichara is performed on that. And this is a deliberation upon what the Shruti says. Yadiva akshayathatmyam sthuladehe ihubhanyate. Yadiva. Or maybe take it this way. Sthuladehe akshayathatmyam sthuladehe ihubhanyate. Akshayathatmyam bhanyate. In saying asthulam ananu aksharayathatmyam, the true nature of akshara or immutable is being stated here. How? Sragyathatmya aheryadvad tathasya ksharamatrataha. Sragyathatmyam ahehe yadvat. Ahi means a snake and srag means a garland, So thing is that, what is the yathatmyam of that snake? Ahehe yathatmyam. Yathatmyam is what? The trueness, the true nature. Yatha atma, as the atma is, as the nature is. What is the true nature of the snake? Srag. Srag means a mala. So just sometimes they say Rajju, sometimes they also say Srag. A mala is lying there, and somebody thinks that it's a snake. That also is there. And so, Srag-yathatmam ahehi yadvat. Just as the Srag is the Yathatmyam. So Srag is the true nature of ahehi. Tatha asya aksharamatratah. And so also this Sthulam. What is Asthulam? What is Asthulam? Asthulam is Yathatmam Asthulam. Asthulam is not just negation of anything. It is, Asthulam is other than Sthulam. That's it. What does it mean? It means that it is the true nature of Sthulam. Just as you say, this is Srag. When you see a or a snake, then what do you say? This is Srag. What is Srag? Different. Or you can say anahihi or a sarpa. You say that, you see a snake and you say that this is non-snake. Not a non-existent, a non-snake. What is non-snake? Non-snake is the true nature of snake. That's what is meant. Non-snake is the true nature of snake. In what sense? Asarvabhutayam rajjau sarparopaha. Rajju doesn't have even a trace of a snake. Upon that, the superimposition of snake takes place. And therefore, when somebody sees a snake, you say that this is a snake. What is it? Asarpaha, you say. Or amala or whatever. Means it is different from sarpa. Don't take it to be sarpa. Sarpa is not right. Mala is not right. Chidra, bhu chidra is not right. Danda is not right. Therefore,